Greetings, family. Sister Shanice in the house. Welcome to a new show where we are going to be focusing on Ghana. Yes, quite a lot has been happening in the country of late, and we want to home in on, what are some of the issues and the challenges that particular country is facing. As we all know, Ghana is a wealthy country. It's awash with minerals, but recently, they filed for bankruptcy. What on earth is going on? We've seen the protests, we've seen the demonstrations. What's going on in Ghana? So I've got two guests in the house that I am going to be bringing forward to have a conversation with us about what's happening in Ghana today. So stay with us for this new series, family, where we focus on Ghana. Well, our first guest in the house today to talk about what's happening in Ghana is none other than our brother Ras Nkrabia, who is a Ghanaian national. Brother Ras Nkrabia, I wonder if you could briefly introduce yourself for our audience.
Yes, greetings to your wonderful viewers and listeners. My name is Ras Nkrabia. I was officially born in Kingston, Jamaica. I am now a citizen of Ghana after almost 22 years. So I would say that, yes, I eat Ghanaian food, kenke, banko, etc. So I'm a real Ghanaian now. Yes, so I'm the deputy CEO of Empire Greek Ghana Limited, a social and political activist and a visual artist by profession.
Wonderful. Welcome to the Ghana Focus. And we are also joined by Kwame Ossie. Welcome, Kwame Ossie. I wonder if you could introduce yourself to our audience. Brother Kwame is also a Ghanaian national and has a particular interest in Ghana. Take yourself off mute. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Kwame Osei. I'm a Ghanaian historian, writer, broadcaster. I also have a podcast called Ghana in Focus that talks about issues affecting Ghana right now. And I also, do a lot of writing as well for various Ghanaian papers like the Graphic and like the Public Agenda. So that's a bit about me.
Welcome. Thank you both so much for joining us on Ghana Focus. This is a new series, as I said, we're going to be focusing on Ghana, formerly known as the Gold Coast. Why? Because of its abundance of gold. And in addition to gold, Ghana, also produces manganese, bauxite, diamonds. It's got deposits of various other minerals like iron ore, lithium, copper, nickel, and recently even graphite has been discovered in the country. So, a minerally rich country. Yeah. People are protesting in the country because they're saying that they're not benefiting from the resources. Let's go over to Brother Nkrabia. Why are people protesting, claiming not to be benefiting from the resources of such a minerally rich country?
Well, what I would like to do, Sister Shanice, is to continue from where you left off in terms of the amount of resources that we have here in Ghana. For instance, Ghana is the largest producer of gold in Africa. Mm-hmm. Secondly, the sixth largest gold producer in the world. The largest producer of cocoa, the second largest producer of cocoa in the world. Diamonds, manganese, limestone, various clay deposits, iron ore, bauxite, salt, natural gas, oil, and many more. And not to mention the human resource, the young, talented, intelligent, brilliant human resource of all these young people that is here. So we should never be in a situation like this where the country have to find itself going into bankruptcy. The legacy of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is a perfect stepping stone for us to not be in this position today. Right. So when we hear of this situation, we are wondering what it is that the government is doing. Why is the government finding itself in this present situation? The present government is not a government that is not exposed. All these ministers have traveled all over the world and they are well educated. Most of them have their doctorate and masters and whatever, right? Africa is at a point right now where the demand for all these small nation states to step up economically, politically, and military-wise, right? But when you look at what is happening here in Ghana, it is not only an isolated case on the continent, but we are focusing on Ghana today. The Ghanaian government, if you were really to check and see the level of corruption, mismanagement, and all of that is going on in government, no wonder why we are where we are today. And this is why so many young people are on the street and have reached a boiling point where they cannot take anymore. We see what has happened in West Africa. And trust me, we are not far away from that happening to Ghana, right? The Arab Spring came as a result of some of the same issues. And the continent now is facing that same kind of turmoil all over. But the politics of the government is really the main problem. This is a government that does not believe in the empowerment of the masses, of the working class, right? And as a result of having that political position over years, we have found ourselves where we are right now. And the fact that they are going to the IMF, it doesn't make any sense because this is the 18th times now since we have gone to the IMF as a country. And there is no country in the world that there's a success rate of going to the IMF. So clearly, you are only going to bring more oppression, depression, and poverty on the people, because at the end of the day, when the IMF comes in and they set up their stringent regulations and guidelines, it is the masses who will have to suffer in order to pay back all those loans, etc., etc. So clearly, you know, it is baffling everyone. Even the government itself is puzzled as regards to why are they going to the IMF, right? So this is where we are today.
Wow. Very concerning state of affairs indeed. Thank you very much, Brother Rasin Krabia, for shedding a bit of light, you know, on the extent of the challenges there. Let me go over to Brother Kwame Osei and put the same question to him. Oh, Kwame, you know, a nation that is so minerally rich, yet the people are so impoverished and are on the streets protesting, and the country's effectively filing for bankruptcy and having to borrow from the IMF. You know, what's going on?
Well, in the family, there is no reason why Ghana, a country well endowed by the Most High with natural resources, as my brother Rasa said, that Ghana should go to the IMF. And essentially, the sole reason why Ghana is going to the IMF because of two things. One, it has mismanaged its economy, which I'll come to later. And two, it has wasted the money that it has got in terms of revenue and resources. So, firstly, and this is going to shock a lot of people, and there's a report, and I'll give you all these reports after the show, that Ghana, check this, Ghana loses $30 billion a year from gold smuggling. That is some gold smuggling, nothing else. Gold smuggling. So right now we know that there's a lot of illegal gold smuggling going on in the country, particularly with Indians and Chinese people coming in, going to the hinterland and buying the gold of these small-scale miners, and then taking the gold in suitcases through customs outside of Ghana to their own countries. Why do you think in Leicester, in the UK, there's somewhere called the Golden Mine in Leicester, Narborough Road, where there's a whole heap of gold shops owned by Indians? There's no gold in India, so where do you think they're getting the gold from? To have all these shops on Narborough Road in Leicester filled with gold shops. So obviously Ghana, as Ras said, we are the biggest producer of gold on the African continent. We beat South Africa, and we're the 6th biggest producer in the world. So that tells you, right, that gold alone, if it was managed properly, and if it was open this illegal smuggling that's going on, that could develop Ghana alone. And as the report said, like I said, I'll give it to you, $30 billion annually is lost from Ghana each year because of illegal gold smuggling. Secondly, there was an Al Jazeera documentary called The Gold Mafia. And again, I'll give you the links after the program. This documentary revealed that there was an Asian mafia that was siphoning $40 million a month from Ghana in terms of, again, this illegal gold smuggling. Yeah. So I've just touched upon gold. When we look at even, the corruption, and this is just in the public sector, the public sector corruption in Ghana is pervasive. So this is your the police, this is your securities people, these are people that work in the public sector like Lands Commission, like auditor, etc. Now, I've got a report here from 2021 from the Auditor General. And again, I'll give you highlights of this after the show. Now, in 2021, the Auditor General of Ghana said that 17.5 billion Ghana cedis was lost to corruption. Now, at the time, 2021, that was 6 Ghana cedis to a dollar. So that 17.5 billion Ghana cedis is near equivalent to $3 billion US dollars. Lost alone during corruption. So we're not talking 2022 or even this year, right? So if you add this last year and this year, corruption that Ghana has lost because of public sector officials is more than 20 billion Ghana cedis, which is about 10 billion US dollars. You don't think that money could be used to develop Ghana? And last example that I'll give is that tax waivers. This government and also successive governments have a policy of tax waivers, particularly by Western and Asian multinational companies. Now, again, a report by even the finance minister himself said that Ghana lost 27 billion Ghana cedis because of tax waivers. You divide that by a current rate of 10 to a dollar, 10 cedis to a dollar, that's nearly $3 billion US dollars that Ghana is losing annually because of these tax waivers that the government are just giving willy-nilly to these foreign companies. So we talked about corruption in the public sector, we talked about gold, and we talked about tax exemptions. These are just 3 examples of the colossal amount of money that Ghana is literally hemorrhaging out of its economy that can be used to develop the whole country, and by extension, no need for Ghana to seek a loan, a Ponzi loan of £3 billion or $3 billion rather from the IMF. Now check this. Ghana is a $60 billion economy. Do you really think, my sister and Russ and listenership, that $3 billion US dollars is going to somehow balance a $60 billion economy?
That's ridiculous.
We have a brother called Parosha Hotep. He has a show called The Math Don't Add Up. And so think about it, what listeners. Does the math really add up? When your economy is worth $60 billion, but you're going to get $3 billion to so-called balance the books, does that make sense?
Doesn't make sense at all.
So, in addition to this, one of our kings, right? This is the king of the Eri people, Togbe Afede the 14th. He's got a book that's out at the moment, and the book is entitled Our Self-Inflicted Monumental Economic Crisis. Hence, he uses the term monumental, because it's unprecedented that Ghana is in this crisis right now. And this is the king of the Eri people writing this book. He himself, by the way, is an economist. And in that book that he's written, he states that mismanagement and corruption are some of the causes why Ghana is in this monumental economic mess that it's in. And just for listeners to understand the monumental mess that Ghana is in, Ghana's got the highest interest rates in Africa, more than 40%. Ghana's inflation peaked at 54% in December last year. It's now gone to around about 35, 32%, which is still very high, because this time last year, inflation was about 16%. Yeah. If you look at our GDP debt ratio, yeah, that's at 99%. And at the end of the year, it's forecast to be about 96%. That means for every $1 that we earn as a nation, we are servicing 96 cents in debt repayments. And then you got 4 cents to build roads, schools, hospitals, pay public sector, etc. And you wonder why Ghana finds itself in the mess that it is in. And finally, if you look at the cedi dollar ratio, this time last year, the Ghana cedi was about 15 to a dollar. But even early one last year, like say March, April last year, it was 6 cedis to a dollar. Yeah. Now it's actually 11.5 to a dollar. So our currency just yo-yoing, you know, and that has an impact on the economy. So these are the reasons, my sister and the listeners, that Ghana has gone to the IMF to seek the so-called bailout and to balance its books. Pure mismanagement, and what they've done because of their mismanagement and inadequacy is to blame COVID and to blame the Russia-Ukraine war for this reason why they've gone to the IMF and World Bank. But that's a false analysis, because even in 2019, the IMF had a spring report on Ghana saying that Ghana is borrowing too much and that cannot be sustained. The levels of borrowing cannot be sustained. And that was the IMF spring report in 2019, a year before Corona. So how then is the government saying coronavirus is to blame for why it's gone to the IMF? So that should show you the insincerity and the mismanagement
yes,
of the government of Ghana, this particular government of Ghana, this Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government, reason why it's going to IMF and World Bank, when there is no reason, given what I've just mentioned over the last few minutes or so, the corruption and also the stealing that's going on in the country that could allow Ghana to use that money, i.e. $30 billion from gold receipts, illegal receipts, to build Ghana inside out. So there's no need for Ghana to go to the IMF.
Well, thank you so much for that overview and for the maths on that, brother Kwame. As you said, the maths just don't add up. The finances just do not add up.
Right.
It sounds like, you know, Ghana is hemorrhaging billions. And with some proper financial management, you know, they could actually be investing all of that loss into its economy. Brother Rasan Krabia, Brother Kwame has said, you know, the problem is clearly mismanagement, corruption, and total inadequate, you know, management of the finances, its policies in terms of tax breaks, etc. He's putting the problem of the country's financial situation wholly and squarely, you know, on the shoulders of the Adolfo government and its ministers. What say you in response to, you know, those very alarming statistics that we've just heard?
You see, Brother Kwame is really on point in terms of those statistics. But the sad part of it, you see, is that I sent you a list the other day of the level of corruption in the past 21.5 years, right? From this government, right? And it started off from number 1, which is a PDS fraudulent deal. And it goes on, and this is the list. This is the list. I can't even read it because of the amount of corruption and mismanagement, etc., that goes on. And it goes all the way to 102 for the past 21.5 years, right? And if you have this level of corruption, malpractice, mismanagement, etc., you must find yourself in that present situation. So definitely, there needs to be a radical change in the political and economic system of Ghana. And that is where the whole question lies. Look at a country like Cuba. A small population like Cuba, I think it's maybe about 11 million or whatever the case is. And they are under blockade for over 40-something years now, right? Yet still, they can provide free education. They can provide healthcare system. They have a good, robust farming system, even in terms of having organic farming to what they are doing there, right? They can still export doctors to the world, even to the United States. So if a little country can do that, it clearly shows that we are doing something totally wrong here, right? Look at the amount of resources that we have right here in Ghana and compare that to what is happening in Cuba under the blockade. So there is no excuse. So really, I think that what the youth need to do is to continue with the protests. And these protests must not just a protest of calling out all these errors in the system and so on, but they must demand and move on a radical level to remove these people out of power, to take them out of power, to ensure that we do not go in the next year or beyond in the same situation. Because what is going to happen when this 3 billion comes. It's going to be the same thing. And at the end of the day, the IMF stringent condition is going to be coming on the backs of the people of Ghana. So really what you need is a radical overall change in the political and economic system of Ghana. And the youth need to stand up and rise up as they are rising up right now. We saw what happened in Burkina Faso and Mali and so on. And this is the direction that Africa is going, right? And government of this country need to take note of what is happening and realize that their days are numbered.
Thank you so much. So family, this was just the opening of our new series, Focus on Ghana. All being well, we will be returning with another episode where we home in on Ghana. Brother Asin Krabia, finishes off there by saying that what's needed is a massive radical change, and that change needs to be initiated by the young people. We're going to home in a bit more on that as well on the next session. So I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to Ghana Focus with Brother Rassen Krabia and Brother Kwame Ossie. See you on the next episode. Sister Shanice, out of here for now.
And thank you very much. Brother Kwame, we must communicate a little more. I haven't seen you in a long while.
Brilliant. Well done. Let me just stop the recording there. That was brilliant. The time was just flew by so quickly. That was about 20 minutes. And so same time next week for a part 2?
Yeah, because there's a lot to
say.
Yeah, okay. Let's keep it rolling. Absolutely. And, we can home in on particular, allegations of corruption, or we can home in on what's happening in another country that we think, like Burkina Faso, and should Ghana be following in its footsteps. We can home in on the impact that these debts are going to have, on the future generations, and I can be led by yourselves. But you sent me. Sorry.
It's having an impact anyway, because I'm sure Russ knows, right, that there's something called the domestic debt exchange program, right?
Yes.
Whereby the government of Ghana, rather than cut down their spending, they're taking people's pensions and they're taking people's bonds that they're saved for their life, for their life when they retire. So this debt exchange program is going to go for at least 10 years. So people's pensions.
That's right.
And also people's, what the money they put into their pension, even young people who are 20 now, when they're 50, right, the money that they put in, right, is going to be cut. Because that's what they call a haircut. And that's what's happening in Ghana.
Exactly.
People's pensions have been affected, and people's bonds have been affected as well. The government bonds that they,
But the mismanagement, the figures that you were reeling out there, Brother Kwame. Yeah, please do send me the links, and I'll put them all underneath the description of this show. I mean, if they were to clog up some of these areas of waste, they could solve Ghana's problems overnight.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, they are not ignorant to what Brother Kwame is saying, They are very knowledgeable of all that information. But at the same time, their interest, their own personal interest in what is happening. And there's no patriotism. And that's a major problem. There is no patriotism when Ghana is concerned.
No. Do the ordinary people have this level of information? I know you said the ministers are probably...
No, they don't.
So well done to both of you for our first edition of Ghana Focus. Okay, family, more love.
All right.
Ciao. Thank you.